Hi guys, Arindam here, and in the second part of my museum exhibit video, I will be taking a look at all the mammals and synapsids that you encounter in this game. So let us begin. Synapsids are considered the descendants of mammals and they are actually mammal-like reptiles. And in this exhibit, I will show you all of the mammals and synapsids found in this game. So here is my museum. I have chosen the color of orange with yellow because most of these, so the reason for choosing orange and yellow is this. Scientists, researchers and paleontologists have found out that the most common color found on mammals and synapsids are orange and shades of earthy browns. This is due to the fact that we are mostly most of the mammals do not actually see colors, so just for hiding in plain sight their colors are mostly natural and warm colored like yellows, oranges and browns. So let's start with the first one. The first one is Bacillusaurus. Now Bacillusaurus means king lizard. It is a genus of large predatory prehistoric archaeocete whale from the late Eocene, approximately 41.3 to 33.9 million years ago. Now, unlike its passive stance in this game, it was the top predator of its environment, preying on sharks, large fishes and other marine mammals, namely the dolphin-like Diadon, which seems to have been their predominant food source. And this Bacillusaur measured around 15 to 20 meters long. Next we have Castorides. Now Castorides or giant beaver is an extinct genus of enormous bear-sized beavers that lived in North America during the Pleistocene. Two species are currently recognized. We have Castorides dilophodus in the southeastern US and Castorides ohioensis in the rest of its range. Species of Castorides were much larger than your modern beavers. So their average length was approximately 1.9 meter or 6.2 feet and they could grow as large as 2.2 meters. The weight of the giant beaver could vary from 90 kilos to 125 kilos. Now, one of the defining characteristics of the giant beaver was their incisors, which differ in size and shape from those of modern beavers. So modern beavers have incisors teeth with smooth enamel, while the teeth of the giant beaver was much larger, up to 15 centimeters long, with a striated textured enamel surface. Okay. Next we have Chalisotherium. Now Chalisotherium is a genus of extinct odd-toed ungulates of the order Perissodactyla and family Chalisotheridae, found in Europe, Africa and Asia from the late Oligocene to the early Pliocene, from 28.4 to 3.6 million years ago. It existed for approximately 24.8 million years. Its arms, as you can see, its arms were long and heavily clawed, allowing them to walk on their knuckles only. The arms were used to reach for the branches of large trees and bring them close to its long head to strip them clean of leaves. The horse-like head itself shows adaptation to a diet of soft vegetation, since as the animal reached sexual maturity, the incisors and upper canines were shed, suggesting that its muscular lips and the resulting gum pads were enough to crop fodder, which was processed by squarish low-crowned molars. Next we have the Diadon. Diadon means dreadful teeth. It is an extinct genus of entelodont artiodactyl that inhabited North America between 29 and 19 million years ago during the Middle Oligocene and early Miocene epochs. The type species is Diadon shoshonensis, the last and largest of the entelodonts. Known adults of this species possessed skulls about 90 cm in length. Now Diadon Shoshonensis is the largest entelodont. Now, their known adult individuals had skulls about 90 centimeter long and were about 1.77 meters tall at the shoulders. Well, pronouncing scientific names is kind of tough, so sorry for that. Next, we have one of my favorite creatures, the Dimetrodon. Dimetrodon means two measures of teeth. It is an extinct genus of non-mammalian synapsids that lived during the Caesuralian or early Permian period, around 295 to 272 million years ago, that is before the age of dinosaurs. It is a member of the family Sphenacodontidae. Most fossils have been found in southwestern United States, the majority coming from a geological deposit called the Red Beds of Texas and Oklahoma. Dimetrodon was probably one of the apex predators of the Caesuralian ecosystems, feeding on fish and tetrapods, including reptiles and amphibians. The sail of the Dimetrodon may have been used to stabilize its spine or to heat and cool its body as a form of thermoregulation. Some recent studies argue that the sail would have been ineffective at removing heat from the body, due to large species being discovered with small sails and small species being discovered with large sails, essentially ruling out heat regulation as its main purpose. So, the sail was most likely used in courtship displays with methods such as threatening rivals or showing off to potential mates. Next, we have the dire bear. Actually, it should be called the cave bear. Now, in the game, it has several variants. We have the dire bear, the polar bear, the dire polar bear, as well as the spirit bear. Now, well, let me take a breath. Now, the short-faced dire bear, or the short-faced bear called Arctodus, is an extinct bear genus that inhabited North America during the Pleistocene epoch from about 1.8 million years ago until 11,000 years ago. It was the most common early North American bear and was most abundant in California. There are two recognized species, the lesser short-faced bear Arctodus pristinus and the giant short-faced bear Arctodus simus, with the latter considered to be one of the largest known terrestrial mammalian carnivores that has ever existed. In a recent study, the mass of 6 Arctodus simus specimens was estimated. 1/3 of them weighed around 900 kilos or 1 short tons. Arctodus pristinus was much lighter, estimated at an average weight of 540 kilos. The largest individuals of Arctodus simus are estimated to have weighed more than 1200 kilos or 1.2 metric tons. Standing up on the hind legs, Arctodus pristinus stood 8 to 10 feet tall, and Arctodus simus stood 11 to 12 feet tall, with a 14-foot vertical arm reach. Arctodus simus was suggested to have been highly carnivorous, and as an adult would have required around 16 kilos of flesh per day to survive. Because of its long legs, it enabled it to run at speeds of 50 to 70 kilometers per hour. An hypothesis is that it may have hunted by running down Pleistocene herbivores such as wild horses and saiga antelopes, and even prey on mammoths, an idea that at one time earned it the name the running bear. Well, this is the polar bear, by the way. Strange that his size is like this. Next, we have I'm guessing this is the unicorn. Now, unfortunately, the unicorn and the equus have the same appearance. Next, we have the direwolf. Now, the direwolf has 3 variations. The direwolf, the polar direwolf found in the snow cave, and the spirit wolf. Okay, so direwolf or Canis dirus or fearsome dog is an extinct species of the genus Canis. The direwolf lived in the Americas during the late Pleistocene and early Holocene epochs, around 125,000 to 9,500 years ago. It was about the same size as the largest modern grey wolves, but its skull and dental structure matched those of Canis lupus, that is, thoroughbreds. But Its teeth were actually larger with greater shearing ability, and its bite force at the canine tooth was the strongest of any dog or wolf species. It mostly preyed on horses, ground sloths, mastodons, bisons, and camels, and used to compete with saber-toothed cats. Okay. Next we have Dodicarus. Now, Dodicarus is an extinct genus of Glyptodont from Pleistocene period in South America, containing only one species, Dodicarus clavicaudatus. Glyptodons are a member of the family Chlamyphoridae, which also includes some modern armadillo species, and they are classified in the order Xenartha alongside sloths and anteaters. Being a glyptodont, it was a rotund animal with heavy armor and carapace, as you can see. Averaging at an approximately 1400 kilos, it was one of the largest glyptodons to have ever lived. It notably sported a spike-tailed club, which may have weighted 40 or 65 kilos in life, and may have swung this as a defense against predators or in fights with other doids at speeds of perhaps 40 kilometers per hour. Yes, that's a lot. Dodicarus on average had a height of 1.5 meters and over a length of around 3.6 meters and a weight of around 1400 kilos. But a 8,000-year-old specimen was calculated to have been 1900 to 2370 kilos, which is huge, by the way. And they have been thought to be a grazer, feeding on grasses. Okay. Let's now go into, so Equus is just a horse, really. Next we go into your Gigantopithecus. Okay, by the way, this is the Equus and this is the unicorn. They are practically the same thing. Okay, now we go into Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus is an extinct genus of ape from the early to middle Pleistocene of southern China, represented by one species, Gigantopithecus blacki. Its remains are generally found in subtropical evergreen broadleaf forests in southern China. Now, Gigantopithecus has traditionally been restored as a massive gorilla-like ape, potentially 200 to 300 kilos when alive. It appears to have been a generalist herbivore of C3 forest plants, with the jaw adapted to grinding, crushing and cutting thorough, tough, fibrous plants, and the thick enamel functioning to resist foods with abrasive particles such as stems, roots, tubers and dirt. Next we have the Hyanodon. Hyanodon, standing for hyena tooth, is the type genus of the family Hyanodontidae, a family of extinct carnivorous mammals from Eurasia, North America, Africa, with species existing temporarily from the Eocene until the Middle Miocene. Well, it existed for about 26.1 million years. Some species of this genus were among the largest terrestrial carnivore mammals of their time. Now, individuals of Hyanodon had a very massive skull, but only a very small brain, so they were not that very smart. The average weight of adults or subadults of Hyanodon horridus, the largest North American species, is estimated to about 40 kilos and may not have exceeded 60 kilos. But Hyanodon gigas, the largest Hyanodon species, was much larger, being 500 kilos and around 10 feet in height. Next we have humans, that is us. Next we have the jerboa. Here it is. Jerboa. Okay. Jerboas are actually real. So jerboas found in forests are actually real mammals. They are not fictional. Jerboas are hopping desert rodents found throughout Arabia, Northern Africa and Asia. They tend to live in hot deserts. When chased, jerboas can run at up to 24 kilometers per hour. They have excellent hearing that they use to avoid becoming the prey of nocturnal predators like owls. Their typical lifespan is around 6 years. Now, jerboas are crepuscular, meaning that they are mostly active at twilight, that is dawn and dusk. They rely on plant material as the main component of their diet, but they cannot eat hard seeds. Some of these species are opportunistically eat beetles and other insects they come across. Next we go to the Lystrosaurus. Lystrosaurus means shovel lizard. They were a herbivorous genus of Dicynodon therapsids from the late Permian and early Triassic epochs, around 250 million years ago. It lived in what is now Antarctica, India, China, Mongolia, European Russia, and South Africa. Being a Dicynodont, Lystrosaurus had only two teeth, a pair of tusk-like canines, and is thought to have had a horny beak that was used for biting off pieces of vegetation. Lystrosaurus was heavily built, herbivorous mammal approximately the size of a pig. They don't look that heavily built, but they actually were heavily built. Finally, we come to the mammoth. Yes, the very important mammoth. Mammoth is any species of the extinct elephantid genus Mammuthus, one of the many genera that make up the order of trunked mammals called proboscideans. They lived from the Pliocene epoch from around 5 million years ago into the Holocene at about 4,000 years ago, and various species existed in Africa, Europe, Asia, and Northern America. These mammoths were quite large. The largest known species reached heights in the region of 4 meters at the shoulder and weighed up to 8 tons, while exceptionally large males may have exceeded 12 tons. They are distantly related to the American mastodon, which actually were smaller. Next, go to the second floor. Okay. Second floor, the first creature is the Megalosaurus. Megalosaurus is any species. Okay, first of all, Megalosaurus means great horn. It is an extinct genus of deer whose members lived throughout Eurasia from the early Pleistocene to the beginning of the Holocene and were important herbivores during the Ice Ages. The largest species, Megalosaurus gigantius, this one, vernacularly known as the Irish elk or giant elk, is also the best known. Yeah, this one again. Most of these members were extremely large animals that favored meadows or open woodlands. Next, we have the Megatherium. The Megatherium just simply means great beast. So, okay. Megatherium is an extinct genus of ground sloths endemic to South America that lived from the early Pliocene through the end of the Pleistocene. It is best known for the elephant-sized type species Megatherium Americanum, this one, sometimes called the giant ground sloth, or the Megatheri, native to the Pampas region during the Pleistocene. This one, that is the Megatherium Americanum, is one of the largest land mammals known to have existed, weighing up to 4 tons and measuring up to 6 meters in length from head to tail. It is the largest known sloth, as big as modern elephants, and would have only been exceeded in its time by a few species of mammoth. They lived mostly in groups, but it may have lived singly in caves. So it was a herbivore. It fed on leaves such as yuccas, agaves, and grasses. While it fed chiefly on terrestrial plants, it could also stand on its hind legs using its tail as a balancing tripod and reach for upper growth vegetation. Unfortunately, the expanding population of human hunters was a result of its extinction. Next, we have the Mesopithecus. Mesopithecus means middle monkey. It is an extinct genus of Old World monkey that lived in Europe and Western Asia 7 to 5 million years ago. It was once thought that it might be an ancestor of the grey langur, but a more recent study suggests that they are more closely related to snub-nosed monkeys. Mesopithecus resembled a modern macaw with a body length of about 40 centimeters. It was adapted to both walking and climbing, possessing a slender body with long muscular limbs and flexible fingers. Its teeth suggests that it primarily ate soft leaves and fruit. Next, we have the moss chops. Moss chops means calf face in Greek. Calf is, the baby cow. So they mean calf face. It is an extinct genus of therapsids that lived in the Guadalupian epoch of the Permian era, around 265 to 260 million years ago. They were heavily built plant eaters, and they may have lived partly in water, as hippopotamuses do. They had short, thick heads and might have competed by headbutting each other. Their elbow joints allowed them to walk with a more mammal-like gait rather than crawling, and they were roughly 2.7 or 8.9 feet in length. Due to that and the possession of long, crowned, stout teeth, it is believed that Moschops was a herbivore, feeding on nutrient-poor and tough vegetation like cycad stems. Okay. Now we have the Onyx. Onyx is simply a vampire bat. In real life, vampire bats sometimes suck blood from cows, but they are of no danger to humans. In the game, Onyx carry the mega rabies disease and is also one of the scariest creatures if you encounter them inside a cave, especially the lava cave on the island map. Next we have the the Ovis, which is the sheep, which can be reared for its mutton as well as for its wool. Next we have the Paraceratherium. This is a very important creature. Paraceratherium is an extinct genus of hornless rhinoceros. Yes, it is actually related to rhinos. It is one of the largest terrestrial mammals that has existed and lived from the early to late Oligocene epoch, 34 to 23 million years ago. Its remains have been found across Eurasia between China and the Balkans. It is classified as a member of the Hyracoodon subfamily Indricotherinae. Let me spell that out. Indricotherinae. Paraceratherium literally means near the hornless beast, in reference to Aceratherium, the genus in which the type species Aceratherium buctinis was originally placed. The shoulder height was about 4.8 meters or 15.7 feet and the length about 7.5 meters. Its weight is estimated to have been as much as 15 to 20 tons. The long neck supported a skull that was about 1.3 meters long. So it was possibly the largest terrestrial mammal to have ever existed. It was mostly a browser, eating mainly leaves, soft plants and shrubs. It lived in habitats ranging from arid deserts with a few scattered trees to subtropical forests. Next we have the Phiomia. Phiomia is an extinct genus of basal proboscid that lived in what is now northern Africa during the late Eocene to early Oligocene, some 37 to 30 million years ago. Phiomia ceridens literally means saw-toothed animal of Phiam. They were around 2.5 meters high and vaguely resembled a modern elephant, although based on the shape of its nasal bones, it had only a very short trunk. It had short tusks on the upper jaw and also short shovel-like tusks on the lower jaw that were mostly used for gathering food. The Procoptodon is an extinct genus of giant short-faced kangaroo that lived in Australia during the Pleistocene epoch. Procoptodon golea, the largest known kangaroo that ever existed, stood about 2 meters tall. The weight about 200 to 240 kilo. Okay. Purlovia. Yes. Now, Purlovia is an extinct genus of herbivorous therocephalian therapsids from the late Permian of Russia. So let me point this out again. They were herbivores and they were reptiles. Not mammals and not omnivores. And they were definitely not this big. Next we have is the otter. So otters are like carnivorous mammals in the subfamily Lutrinae. The 13th extant otter species are all semi-aquatic, aquatic or marine, with diets based on fish and invertebrates. In the game, it is the only creature that can carry multiple artifacts at the same time, and they also provide a very good insulation if you were to keep them in your shoulders. That is why I have taken the otters to every single of my cave videos on the island and scorched earth map. They are very useful. For most otters, fish is their staple diet. This is sometimes supplemented by frogs, crayfish and crabs. This is, by the way, a polar purlovia, the purlovia that you find in the snow cave. Well, it still calls purlovia, but it's a polar purlovia. Next, we have the roll rat. Roll rat is actually a fictional creature, but it has been taken from a real life creature called the mole rat, which look very similar but are very small in size, like a normal rat. They mostly live in deserts. They are blind and they burrow and are nocturnal. Yes, now we come to the big one, saber-toothed cats. Yes, saber-toothed cats are not saber-toothed tigers, they are saber-toothed cats. Saber-toothed cat is any member of various extinct groups of predatory mammals that are characterized by long, curved, saber-shaped canine teeth which protruded from the mouth even when closed. This one. They have been found almost worldwide from the Eocene epoch to the end of the Pleistocene epoch 42 million years ago to 11,000 years ago. The best known genera is called Smilodon. Now, they mostly relied on eating large mammals such as elephants, rhinos, and other colossal herbivores of the era. The Smilodon is a genus of the extinct Megatherium subfamily of felids. It is one of the most famous prehistoric mammals and the best known saber-toothed cat. Although commonly known as the saber-toothed tiger, it was not closely related to the tiger or other modern cats. Smilodon lived in the Americas during the Pleistocene epoch, between 2.5 million years ago to 10,000 years ago. They were around the size of modern big cats but was much more robustly and muscularly built. 3 species of Smilodon are present: Smilodon gracilis, Smilodon fetalis, and Smilodon populator. Gracilis was the smallest species at 55 to 100 kilos, the size of a leopard or a puma. Smilodon fetalis had a weight of 160 to 280 kilo and a height of 100 centimeters. That would be the size of a lion or a tiger. Both of these species are mainly known from North America. Smilodon populator from South America was the largest species at 220 to 436 kilos in weight and 120 centimeter in height and was among the largest known felids. In fact, Smilodon populator is larger than any felids. The only cat which is larger than a Smilodon populator by weight will be the hybrid liger, which is a hybrid between a male lion and a female tiger. Okay. Now, Smilodons died out at the same time that most North and Southern American megafauna disappeared about 10,000 years ago. Its reliance on large animals have been proposed as the cause of its extinction, along with climate change and competition with other species, but the exact cause is unknown. Next, we have the very important creature called Thylacoleo. I have a lot to say about these guys. They are amazing. So, Thylacoleos or pouch lion is an extinct genus of carnivorous marsupials that lived in Australia from the late Pliocene to the late Pleistocene, that is 2 million years ago to 46,000 years ago. Some of these marsupial lions were the largest mammalian predators in Australia at that time, with Thylacoleo carnifex approaching the weight of a small lion. The estimated average weight for the species ranges from 101 to 130 kilos. Pound for pound, Thylacoleo carnifex had the strongest bite of any mammal species, living or extinct. Yes, far more than a jaguar or a tiger. A Thylacoleo carnifex weighing 101 kilo, you mean the size of a mountain lion, cougar, puma, had a bite comparable to that of a 250 kilo African lion, and research suggests that Thylacoleo could hunt and take prey much larger than itself. So imagine a leopard or mountain lion having the same power as a full-sized lion. It also had extremely strong forelimbs with retractable cat-like claws. Yes, these claws. With retractable cat-like claws, a trait previously unseen in marsupials. Thylacoleo also possessed enormous hooked claws set on large semi-opposable thumbs which were used to capture and disembowel prey. The long muscular tail was similar to that of a kangaroo. And well, let me take a bit of breath. So these specialized tail bones called chevrons allowed the animal to balance on its back legs and freed the front legs for slashing and grasping. Its strong forelimbs, retractable claws and incredibly powerful jaws mean that Thylacoleo possibly climbed trees and perhaps carried carcasses to keep the kill for itself, similar to today's leopards. The climbing ability would have also helped them climb out of caves, which could therefore have been used as dens to rear their young. While considered a powerful hunter and a fierce predator, it has been theorized that due to its physiology, Thylacoleo was in fact a slow runner, limiting its ability to chase prey. You can now say that the rendition of Thylacoleo in Ark is pretty accurate, with its hooked claw as a collectible, its good legs and its climbing ability, only that it is far more bigger than what it should be. Lastly, we have the woolly rhino. Woolly rhino or Silodonta antiquitatis is an extinct species of rhinoceros that was common throughout Europe and northern Asia during the Pleistocene epoch and survived until the end of the last glacial period. An adult woolly rhino typically measured 3 to 3.8 meters from head to tail, with an estimated weight of around 1800 to 2700 kilos or 2000 kilos. It grew up to 2 meters tall at the shoulder, about the same size as the white rhinoceros. With their massive horns and size, adults had few predators, but young individuals could be attacked by animals such as hyenas and cave lions. Okay, so yeah, that was the entirety of the Mammal and Synapsid Museum. I hope you learned a lot about the Ark's creatures. In the next video, I will be taking a look at the reptiles and amphibians. So till then, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.